Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be all about Mai Tais. We're going to be whipping up 4 different Mai Tais, okay? We're going to start off with the regular one and then just kind of branch out and kind of switch them up ever so slightly to make them totally unique and different than the last one that we made. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right on in. We're going to be starting off with 1.5 ounces of whatever white rum you like. In my case, it's going to be Bacardi. We're then gonna hit this drink with 3/4 ounce of orange curacao. Now that is essentially just like a triple sec, just with a little bit of orange kind of coloring to it. So if you don't have this, you can still get the same flavor if you just have regular triple sec. But just for colors and to make it traditionally correct, we're gonna want to use that orange curacao. From there, we're gonna be adding 1/2 ounce worth of this awesome orgeat syrup. This one here comes out of France. So it's definitely a premium product. I know there are other brands that make orgeat syrup. This is totally worth the extra couple of dollars in the store when you're buying it. We're then gonna squeeze in 1/2 of a fresh lime, which is gonna be the equivalent to about 1/2 ounce worth of lime juice. I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze that in. From there, we're gonna add ice to our shaker tin and give this thing a nice little shake. Now that we've given that a nice little shake, we're going to go ahead and strain this into our ice-filled rocks glass. Now it's not going to fill all the way up to the top, and we don't want it to. We still have another ingredient to add to this Mai Tai, and that is the dark rum, which is a nice little float on top. We're going to be doing 3/4 ounce of that awesome dark rum, and we're just going to kind of let it float right there on top. Give it a straw, and you are all set and ready to rock. Okay, so for our second version of the Mai Tai in our Mai Tai Special video, we're going to be doing what I like to call the White Tai. Now, the reason for the name is because there's not going to be any dark rum inside of this cocktail. We're still going to be doing 2 different kinds of rum and then a flavored liqueur. Instead of the orange curacao and dark rum, we're going to be replacing that with peach schnapps for the orange curacao and a little bit of Malibu coconut rum for the dark rum. So we're going to get totally different flavor profiles, okay? So let's jump on in here. We're going to start off with our base rum, Malibu once again. We're going to be doing 1.5 ounces of this. For flavoring, we're going to be adding 1 whole ounce of the Malibu coconut rum. We're then going to use 1/2 ounce of the peach schnapps. The reason it's only 1/2 ounce is because I want it to stay in the same proportions as a traditional Mai Tai recipe. Also, that peach schnapps is pretty potent stuff, so it doesn't take a lot to get the flavor in the drink. You just don't want the entire drink tasting like peach. We're going to then move on to the orgeat syrup, which is going to be the same thing as we used in the very first Mai Tai. We're going to be doing 1/2 ounce worth of that. That's where you're going to get your sweetness from. We're then going to be squeezing in another 1/2 of a lime, which is going to be the equivalent of 1/2 ounce. Once we have all this stuff in here, we don't need to do anything else except for shake it up and strain it into our glass and then enjoy. So fill up your mixing glass here with ice, throw on your tin, and give it a nice little shake. And notice the color on this one, guys. Hence the name, the White Tai. And once again, we're not going to be throwing any dark rum on top of this, so once you have this, you are set and ready to enjoy. Alrighty, so for our third Mai Tai and our Mai Tai Special today, we're going to be doing what I call the Hawaii Tai. I tried to use as many ingredients from Hawaii as I could possibly get, of course with fresh fruits and all that kind of good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump right on into the Hawaii Tai. We're going to be using Bacardi white rum again, 1.5 ounces worth. for our base. For flavoring, and you could really easily do this with a few pieces of muddled pineapple as well, but I didn't have any in the house. So we're gonna be hitting this drink with literally just a ½ ounce worth of Malibu pineapple. We're then gonna be using some of this homemade guava syrup that I made today, made with fresh guavas, also a Hawaiian fruit. So we're gonna be adding 3/4 of an ounce to that. My co-worker Chrissy, who was recently out in Hawaii, was nice enough to bring me back this macadamia nut orgeat syrup. Now, as most people know, orgeat syrup is made from almonds, and it's a sweeter almond syrup. So this one here is made with macadamia nut, and believe it or not, it's not quite as sweet, and kind of has a little bit of a more nutty kind of an undertone to it. You can really taste the macadamia nut in it. So from here, we're just gonna actually throw some ice in and give this baby a shake. Once we give it a shake, we're gonna strain it into our ice-filled rocks glass. As a matter of fact, before I finish off that shake, I forgot to add in the fresh citrus. So let's go ahead and squeeze in a ½ ounce worth of lime juice, which is essentially just a half of a lime. Now that we got that in there, we'll have some better taste. Sorry about that. Let's go back to it. Alrighty. So then we're just going to strain this on into our our ice-filled rocks glass. And we're going to top it off with some of this awesome dark rum that I found at Bevmo the other day. It's called Kula. It's a dark rum, nice and strong, out of Hawaii. We're going to be using 3/4 of an ounce on this Mai Tai. Just as a nice little dark rum floater. Throw our straw on in, and we're ready to enjoy. That's number 3, the Mai Tai. Alrighty guys, so for our 4th and final representation of a Mai Tai in the video today, we're going to be doing one of my very personal favorite creations I've ever done. I call this the bluegrass Mai Tai, okay? So instead of rum, we're going all whiskey, so to speak. So instead of a white rum and a dark rum and an orange liqueur, we're going to be going with the bourbon, a rye whiskey, and Grand Marnier for our spirits inside of this cocktail, okay? I can't wait to do this for you. Let's go ahead and jump right on in. We're going to be doing a ½ ounce worth of Grand Marnier. We're then going to be doing an ounce of both the rye whiskey and the bourbon. Okay, so we have a total of 2½ ounces inside of our cocktail here. We're going to also be using the same original orgeat syrup from an original Mai Tai. This is going to be for our sweetness. And we're only going to be using a ½ ounce worth of the orgeat syrup. We're going to be squeezing in a ½ ounce worth of lime juice. You can also use lemon for this. I know a lot of people think that lemon is better with whiskey than lime, but when you get all these other flavors in here, trust me when I say it doesn't matter in the slightest. So from there, we're going to be adding my special personalized ingredient. This is some homemade sarsaparilla bitters, okay? We're going to be putting a few drops of that inside of the cocktail. Now, for those of you who don't know what sarsaparilla tastes like, the easiest way to think about it is before there was root beer, like everybody knows today, there was something called sarsaparilla beer. It's all organic, you know, different kind of root beer. It was the original stuff. It was around since the 1800s. You can still find some small batchy kind of things out in the Midwest. But for the most part, people figured out a long time ago that when you have too much sarsaparilla inside of your insides, it can be kind of toxic to your systems. That's why they kind of went with all the artificial flavoring and created root beer. So we're going to add some ice here and give this baby a nice little shake. And we're just going to strain this on into the glass, and then we're going to add a little bit more of that sarsaparilla bitters on top of the cocktail as well. Now the sarsaparilla inside of the cocktail here is going to kind of give the drink a unique little black licorice kind of an undertone. It's not going to be a dominant flavor inside of the cocktail, but it is definitely well played inside of here, and you're just going to put a couple of little drops in there like so, and from there we can go ahead and enjoy. This is the bluegrass Mai Tai.